What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on this new project from Playboi Carti called Whole Lotta Red. Now, Playboi Carti is a rapper who's coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, and you can just look to his debut studio album Die Lit to see how polarizing of an artist he is. On one hand, you have people who think he's a classic game-changing artist. On the other hand, you have people who don't understand it at all and think he's pure trash. For me personally, since that's what you're going to get here is my opinion, I did kind of like some of the production on Die Lit. Pierre Bourne came through with some bangers, and I understand the appeal of the wild, frenetic energy on that record, but there wasn't much for me to sift through and take away from it. So Playboi Carti's not an artist that I've been big into, and I wasn't expecting that to change going into this one. However, I did go into this with an open mind because you never know, sometimes your mind can be changed. I often use YG as an example because I didn't like too much of his earlier work, but then Still Brazy made my year-end list the year that it came out. And this year, we got 21 Savage, who was my least favorite rapper for the longest time when he came out, but that Savage Mode 2 really stuck with me because he stepped up the bars and the production was crazy. So who knows going into this one? Maybe it would change my mind. No, it didn't. So, of course, you don't go into a project like this expecting any crazy dense lyrical value or crazy flows, so I'm not going to critique it here as if I'm expecting life-changing content. You know what I mean? It's Playboi Carti. He's just here to wild out and get you out of your seat. So, nothing thought-provoking is happening here, but in spite of that fact that you're not expecting a whole lot from him, I did still find that this was a bit of a lazy project to me. I mean, he spends a lot of these songs repeating his lines over and over and over on tracks like Jump Out the House, New Tank, No Sleep, and many, many others. In fact, if you go on the Genius page and look at some of the lyrics to these songs, it damn near looks like Bart Simpson at the start of the Simpsons intro when he's at the chalkboard, writing the same lines over and over and over, because that is essentially how Playboi Carti's creative process seems to work. On one hand, I guess that can be kind of catchy because you don't have to remember much. Maybe you're in a mosh pit slamming around to Playboi Carti and just yelling shit over and over. I understand that aspect. But on the other hand, it is more annoying to me than when you have a mosquito flying in your ear. Like, you ever go camping or maybe you're sleeping out in a tent and you wake up just with that is right in your ear and you're just like, God damn, man, that shit is so annoying. That's sort of the feeling I get listening to some of these Playboi Carti songs. And he kind of sounds like a mosquito at some points, which I will get into a little bit later in the review. And in general, these 24 tracks were just a slog for me to listen to, man. They went on and on. Again, there's a very repetitive nature here, but I'm not going to lie to you and say that every song here sounds the same, because I think that would be disingenuous. You do get aggressive bangers like Stop Breathing. This one has bass that is just absolutely thicker than Miss Yummy, so you are going to get some big beats like that. And then on other songs, you're going to get some more melodic stuff, which I will break down a bit later, because those were some of the tracks that I liked. You even get some more experimental, crammed, sloppy / busy tracks like On That Time, which to me just felt like there was too much going on there, but I do think people like some of that noisy stuff from Carti, so it is what it is, man. He's just a very polarizing artist, like I said. That's why I'm being very clear as I'm reviewing this, that I'm telling you this is just my opinion on what I'm saying, but if you have a completely different stance with what you like when it comes to hip-hop in regards to what I like, I can understand why people would like this, but I can only speak on how I feel about it. I'm sure plenty of people feel the same, because I don't think I'm saying anything here that's overly unfair. Even if you like Playboi Carti, I'm sure you understand why some people might not like the repetitive lines, the baby voices, some of the songs just going on and on with the same shit, not a lot of switch ups and those types of things. But keeping it moving forward, I just really think that Carti is a very limited artist, so even if you want to give me a project like this where it's just bangers and fun, I would be much more able to stomach it if it was short. Like, if you took 9 or 10 of the best Playboi Carti bangers and put them together, I would probably like that. I could understand it, I could work with it, I get some bangers, get some smooth Night Riders with those melodic vibes, but 24 tracks, once again, man, it's just way too much. I think he's a very limited artist when it comes to his flows, his basic rap content, which really is not even interesting to talk about. There wasn't much here for me to break down when it comes to bars, and again, you don't expect that, but I'm just saying that's still a big chunk that is missing from this music in one way or the other, in my opinion. But if I had to describe this album in one particular way, I would just say that it's a very mind-numbing listen. On one hand, though, I think that's what people want, because you just want to put this shit on maybe when you're having a lot of drinks and you're jumping up and down in Dirty Dungeon or something like that. I could understand that. You got beats here that do slap harder than E Honda, but to come back to what I was saying earlier about him sounding like a mosquito at times, he sounds more like a robotic, futuristic mosquito. You know what I mean? Like a cyborg mosquito because of that auto-tune, some of the special effects he uses sometimes. Maybe a mosquito with a bit of a throat infection when he gets all scratchy and wild. Maybe you might even describe him as a toddler who broke into his daddy's lean and got too much and then started rapping like this, which is how he sounds to me on the song Teen X, for example, a track that also has a title that sounds like the name of a porn site. You got a beat here that sounds like blippy background music with some heavy 808s on it, and it also features Future, who really seems like he cares even less than usual. I'm not someone who goes hard for Future and listens to a whole lot of stuff, but I certainly didn't feel like this was one of his best performances, so that was too bad. But to come back to what I was saying about the more smooth melodic tracks that I did enjoy, you're going to get a lot of those on the back end of the project, and I did feel that the second half connected with me personally a lot more. I Love You, I Hate You, for instance, would be my favorite. It has a very dreamy, vibey feel to it, so I could work with that. And even tracks like Sky, Die for Guy, Not Playing and Feel Like Dying have a similar aesthetic. There's nothing too crazy happening with them, but they're just sort of light and pleasant to listen to, so I did connect with those ones a little bit. I also thought New Neon sounded fine for night driving. This has some of the album's best production. Again, the flows are okay, it is what it is. So there were a couple of tracks here that I didn't mind, but overall this is not a project I could see myself revisiting a lot of times. Maybe 2 or 3 of these tracks I could put in the mix if I'm just sitting at home, maybe having a couple drinks and smoking something, just in the mood for some ignorant trap shit, because I do like it once in a while. But as a whole project, this one was way more miss than hit for me. And yeah, I don't know, man. Again, it's just a very draggy affair. I wish you could have cut some tracks off, but I'm curious to see what you guys feel about it. But we do have to talk about some of the other features right quick before we wrap up. We have Kanye West coming through with some groaners on Go to the Moon, where he says, always asking for Buddha, you a Budapest. That's clever to some people, I'm sure. I also thought the beat on this was all over the place, because one minute it's hazy and dreamy, the next minute you're getting these horror movie strings, so I don't know, this wasn't a track that I cared for. But I did kind of like Metamorphosis with Kid Cudi. He's got those pleasant hums on there that you've come to expect from him, so they're very catchy, and I thought his feature was actually pretty great, and probably the best on the album in my opinion, so I did think that song was alright. I could work with that as well. But overall, I'm going to go with a 3 out of 10 here, man. I do think maybe this is a little bit better than Die Lit in my opinion, at least based on the stuff that I like, but I'm not sitting here trying to pretend that I'm a Carti scholar. So if you're someone who is a diehard fan of Playboi Carti, maybe you're listening to this like, what is this guy talking about? But I'm just going off what I do know about him. I'm sure there's other people who are way more versed and deep into his music who can point out the intricacies and the differences and stuff like that. But this is just how I felt about this album as I was listening to it, you know? I've certainly heard worse, but there's not a good ratio here, and that's a big part of what goes into my ratings. I always look at how many songs I like and how much I like them, how many songs I dislike and how much I dislike them, and that really did not work out well in this project's favor. So it is what it is. I'm curious to see what people say about this one, because once again, I expect it to be a very polarizing discussion. But hey, let me know how you feel down in the comments section, and make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.